Yo, 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 yo. What's going on? What's popping? Happy Monday. How we doing? How we feeling? Everybody, what is going on? It is your dog Toddy checking in for our post post game show, you know. Um which we typically do on Monday with our player grades, which we do plan on doing. Schedule a little bit different today because we played on Thursday night. So what's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? It's like 4 days have passed. So this is really a post game show where we come in and we normally dissect, discuss, debate how we feeling about 24 hours after the game. But once again, since we played on Thursday, the time and the dynamic is a little bit different. It's been almost a week. Well, sort of close to a week, Monday, Thursday, not that far, about 3 days away. So it's a little bit different, being that we did play Thursday. We did win in grand fashion. But, we're going to do what we do. We're going to talk a little bit about the game, things that we did very well, things that we did good, and things that we maybe not did so well in. And we're going to get ready for our game this coming weekend against the Carolina Panthers. Some people I have seen are calling that a trap game for the Falcons. We're expected to win. We've been looking pretty good lately. And the Panthers would love nothing else but to slow down Atlanta's momentum. So, in my opinion, this is another very important game for the Falcons. We need to go up 4-2 in the record and stay in first place. We're in first place now in the NFC South. Let's ring the bell for that. Let's stay there all year. Let's stay in first place all year. From what's this, week 5, I think? Yeah, 3 into week 5, forward through week 17. Something we haven't seen in a long, long time in Atlanta. Nah, I mean, yeah, but we are in here, man. As always, welcome in. Appreciate you coming in today. Do your dog a favor. Make sure you do hit that like button for your dog. Please do hit that like button for your dog. Helps the show. So thank you in advance for doing that for me. Also, when you come in, do me a big favor. Rep your area code. Let me know you at. Let me know if you're in that 404. You're in that 770. You're in that 678. You're in that 912. You're in that 478. You're in the 864. You're in the 803. You're in the 501. Even if you're in the 212. Let us know where you rapping that, man. You did. Y'all see the title, right? Y'all see the title. Let's go ahead and get to the business, man. We gonna waste y'all time, man. Monday Night Football coming up, in about 2 hours. The Baghead Aints tonight against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, So we ain't gonna waste a lot of time. You know what I mean? Yeah, but let's go ahead and get to the title. That way, we don't waste a bunch of time, and then we can do our player grades. We get up out of here. Julio Jones family claps back at me for disrespecting Julio. Guys, that's not clickbait. That really happened. That is not clickbait. That really happened. Let's give you the quick backstory real quick. As we all know, Atlanta Falcons legendary, and I'm not going to even play with it. Atlanta Falcons legendary, the greatest quarterback in franchise history. Yes, I said the greatest quarterback in franchise history. Went into the Falcons Ring of Honor this past Thursday night in the halftime of the Tampa Bay's game. A lot of former players was in the building. Noticeably absent was Mr. Julio Jones. He wasn't there. They also held, shout out to Lisa in the building, also representing that 404. What's happening, Lisa? How you doing today? There also was a, why the comments on the show? Oh, there we go. There was also a ceremony, and I remember talking to Lisa, and I'm pretty sure she told me that she went to the ceremony. Lisa, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I think there was a ceremony before the Ring of Honor ceremony. A sit down with Matt Ryan. I'm not sure which day it was, but it was a few days or a couple of days before the actual ceremony took place on Thursday, where there were even more former players of Matt Ryan who came and showed their love and really respect to their former teammate. Also, Mr. Jones, Mr. Julio, no, Mr. Quintorius Lopez did not appear at that event either. Now, I get it, man. You know, we all got stuff going on. Julio, big time celebrity, you know, multi-millionaire. He can't always just drop everything he got going on to show up for the Falcons or show up for this fan base or show up for Matt Ryan. Hey, man, I get it, bro. You know, I probably could have made both of them things, and I ain't really got a whole lot going on. So I can just imagine what his schedule looked like. But not to make at least one of those events, you know. From what I saw, you know, I don't think Roddy made the sit down event, but Roddy was there the official event on Thursday night. Same with Harry Douglas. I remember seeing Harry Douglas on Twitter said, "Look, man, I got to work. I'm gotta be on a plane for the event on Thursday, but I'm gonna make the sit down event." Okay, Lisa says, right, it was called an evening with Matt Ryan at the Buckhead Theater. Julio was not present. Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong since you were in attendance. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa, but wasn't there a lot of Matt Ryan's former prominent teammates in attendance at that event? I wasn't there. She was there. You know, so she can give us an eyewitness account. But from what I saw in the pictures, there was a lot of former prominent teammates there. I didn't see Roddy on the pictures, but like I said, I seen Roddy at the event. Roddy put the jacket on it. I mean, Roddy was at the game, pardon me. But needless to say, Mr. Jones didn't appear to neither event, not one. He didn't come to not one event. Now, like I say, man, he could have had something going on a Thursday night, you know. Go to one of the events. Now, if the thing with Julio was like, if Julio went messing with the Falcons, like, man, I ain't trying to go to Arthur Blank building. I ain't trying to step foot in that Benz. Arthur Blank owned that Benz. Me and Arthur got, I don't want to say beef, but me and Arthur got problems that we ain't resolved yet. So I'm not trying to walk in Arthur Blank's house because we got problems. Just like Arthur Blank not finna walk in my house. Arthur Blank got some mansions, I got some mansions. I ain't walking in his mansion, he ain't gonna walk in my mansion. So I get that. I get it. Hey, you know, I get it. I got people that I ain't really talking to right now, so they ain't gonna come over my house. I ain't gonna go over their house until we resolve our feelings. So I get it. So if you're not gonna be at the Benz for the game on Thursday night, why not go to the Buckhead Theater? From what I know, I don't think Blank owned that. I don't think he owned it. But why not show up to that? Why not show up to that? You said, oh yeah, a lot of former players showed love to Matty Ice. That's what I see in the pictures. That's what I see in the pictures. I got my dog Space Ghost Real Atlanta in the building. What's happening, bro? Appreciate you coming through. Space was Matt wasn't the leader y'all make him out to be. I wouldn't show fake love. There you go. Bro, I knew you was gonna come with it. I wouldn't show fake love. Either quarterback never took accountability when things got bad with his inconsistent ass. All right, Space go. Let me say this. Because when I made that post, and you was on that Facebook post too, when I made that post, some people took that post the wrong way. They thought I was going to bat for Matt Ryan. So let me go ahead and clear the air on that post. Some people understood exactly where I was coming from. Then some people just thought, oh man, you just being a Matt Ryan fanboy. You just being a Ryan Knight, man. F Matt Ryan. Let me explain my reasoning for that. That post was way less about Matt Ryan and more about our fan base and our franchise. It was less about Matt and more about our fan base and our franchise. That's what the post is about. You know, because y'all who've been rocking with me for a while on this YouTube channel or even going way back in Facebook, y'all know I ain't the biggest Matt Ryan fan. Y'all know that. Y'all know some of y'all done had to whisper in my ear before, like, man, chill out with the Matt Ryan slander, bro. Like, chill. Like, you doing too much, man. Chill out. That's our quarterback we got to ride with him while he here. So I'm not the biggest Matt Ryan fan, and I'm definitely not the biggest Matt Ryan hater either. I'm right in the middle. I guess if this was voting, you call me a moderate. I'm right there in the middle. Not too big of a hater, not too big of a fan. So I know I think I can stand in the middle a little bit. I think when he deserves his credit, I give him his credit. I think when he deserves, his criticism, I give him his criticism. But at the end of the day, like I was trying to say, for me, it was more about the franchise, the logo, the fan base, really the fan base at the end of the day. So that's why I was coming from with it, really. Jay Black in the building says Ty did not disrespect Julio. He just told the truth about it. I didn't think I disrespected him either. Now there was some people on that post who felt the need to disrespect me, and now you come at me disrespectful, I'm gonna return the same energy now, and we're gonna sit here and we're gonna talk like gentlemen and have a civil discourse, or we gonna throw some disrespect at each other. We gonna do that. I'm gonna return the same energy you give me, and let me read off what I said that kicked this whole thing off. Let me find that post. All right, this is what I said. I said Julio Jones, my dog, which he is. He is my dog. I'm ticked off at him right now, but hey, I brought the Julio jersey out. This is a Julio Jones jersey I got on right now, throwback jersey. You see that 11? I even brought the jersey out. But anyway, I said Julio Jones, my dog, but he should have been there last night for Matt Ryan's ring of honor ceremony. Everybody else popped out but him. Hashtag sleazeball behavior. Hashtag sleazeball behavior. Some people come, like, how dare you call him a sleazeball? Who do you think you is? I'm like, hey, I didn't call him a sleazeball. I said the behavior. I said sleazeball behavior. To me, that was some sleazeball behavior. My opinion. So again, let me reiterate, because I know how this fan base gets. I know when you discuss such a polarizing figure within this fan base like Matt Ryan, some people, you say that name, but people, they gonna react one way or the other. This was less about Matt and more about this franchise and this fan base. Jay Black says sleazeball behavior is better than F-boy behavior. You are right. You correct. But yeah, so let's get back going. Because I'm not gonna keep y'all here long today. Let's get back going. So I made that post, right? And then that was Friday, right? Then we came on the Waffle House on Friday, and we discussed it on the Waffle House on Friday. Or I discussed it on the Waffle House mainly on Friday on how I felt about it. I put my feelings in the air. The very next morning, Julio Jones family They had some choice words for me. I guess they read the post. I doubt they seen the video, but who knows? Maybe they wouldn't watch the video too. But his family had some choice words for me also. Space Ghost says Tony G was only there because he was working. He took a shot at old Noodle arm, if I'm not mistaken, some time back. That wasn't a shot. He just told how he felt. Early in Matt Ryan's career, and Space Ghost, you assuming that he was there only because he was working. You don't know. If he wasn't working that game, you can't honestly say that he wouldn't have still been in the building. You can't honestly say that. And then you look at the fact, is it really a coincidence that Tony worked that game, Thursday night national televised game in Atlanta? Do you think that was coincidental, or do you think maybe behind the scenes that was planned months ago? Well, we'll put Tony on this game, so you're his former teammate. That probably was planned to a certain extent. There's probably some planning that went into that also. But needless to say, even with Tony there and not there on Thursday night, all Matt's other real prominent teammates popped out for him, especially his pass catches. For y'all who done played the sport before, there's a unique relationship between the quarterback and his pass catches. So, but let's get back to the family members. So they popped out and they had some choice words for me, and I'm gonna read to y'all what they told me. Let me find it, because I don't want to misquote them. So let me find their words. Before we get to their words, also on that same post, because it was a lot of comments on that post. As that post was going on, we were trying to figure out what really happened between Matt and the Falcons. Excuse me, my apologies, but pardon me. Between Julio and the Falcons, Julio and Arthur Blank. It got to a point where some people said, "Nah, Julio and Matt they didn't get along. They didn't like each other, or Julio didn't like Matt at the end, or Julio and Matt had some issues. Matt Ryan and Julio had issues, or was it that Julio Jones had issues with Arthur Blank?" So we all are now playing internet detectives, trying to figure out what happened, who got beef with who don't like who, where did this go wrong at? Also, just a second. Also, in that post, there was a some of y'all ATLians, some of y'all native Atlanteans, excuse me. Y'all may know this person, but a successful entrepreneur reached out to me on that post also. Hold on, we got a super chat coming in, $4.99 from our dog. Dom is in the building. What's happening, Dom? Appreciate that super chat, man. Thank you very much for the support. Appreciate you, man. Just been rocking with you a long time. Tired. I've seen the post. Julio should have been there, point blank, period. Selfish mentality. I agree. And thank you for the long time support also, Dom. You have been here pretty much since day one, since the Instagram days, before we even came to Facebook, bro. And I thank you greatly for that. A great deal also, man. But yeah, some of y'all Atlantis may know this, like Space Ghost, Lisa. Y'all may know this. I'm not gonna say his name, but this was a public post, a public platform. So everything that I'm about to read off to y'all, it was put on a public platform. Now, if anybody came and said something to me in private, through an inbox, through a text, through a phone call, y'all wouldn't hear that. But everything that was put on a public platform, I'm gonna put it out. Because it was put on a public platform. And you can go find that stuff still. The post is still up. I won't put out no names, but like I said, if you want to go find out who said what, be my guest.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Hold on, my Alexa going on. Okay, so here we go. An Atlanta entrepreneur reached out to me and he said, Julio was at my restaurant and made it super clear he would never come back to the Beans. If it's a lie, he told it. But he said all the blanks treated him like shit in the end. Because he asked for 2 meetings and the blanks refused to meet him until it was too late. He also said if they try to put him in the ring of honor, he will not show up. He was clear the relationship is severely broken. None of us know the real truth, so I just keep my opinions to myself. Who are we to judge? Now, this is a successful entrepreneur in Atlanta who told me this. And he said his restaurant. I went and fact checked. He has a very deep history in the restaurant industry in Atlanta, amongst other things. But this is what he said. He said this is what Julio told him out his own mouth. If I need to repeat that quote from him, let me know. We'll read it again. This was some clear insight of what was possibly going on behind the scenes. So, after he said that, I responded to him. This is me responding to him, and I quote, "Hey, I'm interested. Why would he share this information with you?" Okay, Jamar says, read it again, Toddy, I missed it. Okay, I'm gonna read it one more time. This is coming from a Atlanta entrepreneur. He said Julio told him this at his restaurant. And I quote, "Julio was at my restaurant and made it super clear he would never come back to the Beans. If it's a lie, he told it. But he said all the blanks treated him like shit in the end. Because he asked for 2 meetings and the blanks refused to meet him until it was too late. He also said if they try to put him in the ring of honor, he will not show up. He was clear the relationship is severely broken. None of us know the real truth, so I just keep my opinions to myself. Who are we to judge?" End quote. End quote. So that's what he said. That's what he said. Nando said, "What's up?" Nando says, "Toddy, you were Sagittarius. Words are taken in the wrong context. Somebody has some." We're in the blame for that. A great comment. I am a Sagittarius, man, so you're absolutely correct about that. All right, so I respond to this entrepreneur because I'm interested now. Like, man, you're the first person that kind of really gave some real true insight on what's going on here. Especially after I check your background, like you ain't got no reason to come up here and lie to me. I said to him, I said, "Hey, I'm interested. Why would he share this information with you?" He responded, it was everyone at the table. Speaking of the dinner table. When I made the comment, he would be honored here one day. Again, just sit back and watch. That's what I'm doing. Look for our fishing trip pick soon. So obviously this person has a good relationship with Julio. You know, they do fishing trips together. And I know Julio is a pretty big time fisherman because I do remember back in the happier days of Atlanta when he was on social media, he would often post his fishing trips on his social media. So, continuing this conversation, I replied back to I'm just gonna call him the entrepreneur. I ain't gonna say nobody names, but like I say, this is all public platform, public information. Everything I'm gonna read to y'all is public information. If anybody send me something private, I won't share that. But anything that was said in public is for public consumption. My words, their words. I responded to him. I said, okay, I'll be on the lookout for the picks. Hopefully, Jet changes his mind. Although I'm pissed at how he treats the organization, and as a result, us fans. I want him to be in the Falcons Ring of Honor. He is one of the greatest players Atlanta has ever seen. Hopefully, him and Blank can fix whatever issues they have while both are still here on this earth. Appreciate the information. His final response to me was, no doubt, bro. I'm praying he changed his mind as well. So the entrepreneur, who's obviously a big Falcons fan like me, he like, hey, I want to see him in the Ring of Honor too. I hope he changed his mind as well. But to recap that conversation, he's pretty much saying the beef ain't between Julio and Matt Ryan. The beef is between Julio and he said Blanks. I know Arthur got some sons. So I'm assuming Blanks obviously means Arthur and possibly his sons. I don't know. I don't know what power dynamic his sons may or may not have within the Falcon organization. Or maybe he just like some people and just put an S at the end of Blake. I'm not sure. But we'll just say Arthur Blake. But obviously the beef is between Julio and Arthur Blake. It ain't Julio and Matt Ryan. It's not Julio and Matt Ryan. And I did go and check. Because Julio's off Instagram now. But he's still on his Twitter. Or he still has a Twitter account. He only follows 44 people. Him and Matt Ryan still do follow each other. Julio don't follow many other Falcon players anymore. He does still follow Matt Ryan. So I'm assuming, this is my assumption. Ain't nobody told me nothing. It's personal assumption. I'm assuming him and Matt Ryan's relationship is still kosher. Matt Ryan does shout him out every opportunity that he gets. He shouted him out at the Ring of Honor ceremony on Thursday night. Julio does still follow him on Twitter. So I'm assuming their relationship is great or still kosher. I shouldn't say great because I don't really know. Julio still also follows Roddy and Harry Douglas. And I think those are only Falcons players that he still does follow. But based on this information I got from the entrepreneur, it's between Julio and Blank. Is the issue. With that said, let's try to play internet detective a little bit, y'all, if y'all don't mind with me. Let's go to some past statements or interviews by Arthur Blank here, right? What we're looking at now, it says, hold on. There we go. Julio Jones felt the $66 million contract wasn't sufficient respect, says Falcons Arthur Blank. This is an interview that happened on September 1st, 2021, about 3 years ago, soon after Julio was obviously traded. Let's just go with some key points on this if we can. Can y'all see that? Let me know if y'all can see that. Do I need to blow it up? Can y'all see that? Comment if y'all need... comment to me if y'all can read that, or do I need to try to blow it up a little bit? Let me know. I'm gonna wait for somebody to comment. And yeah, Julio family did check me. They did clap back at me. We're gonna get into that too, so just stay tuned. We're gonna get into what Julio Jones' family said to me also. We gonna get there. Be a little patient with your boy. Can y'all see that though? Do I need to blow that up? Or is it good? Let me know. Let me know. How we looking on that screen and share? Kristen Lewis in the building. What's going on, Chris? How we doing today? She says, he didn't leave that pay raise. Yeah, he made sure he got that. Millie Mills in the building. What's going on, Miller? This was the reason why MR2 put that emphasis on including Julio at his speech that was towards somebody. Good observation, bro. Kwame Hightower says, what's good? This was Rashard off Facebook. What's going on, bro? How we doing? How you doing, man? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep going because then nobody say that they couldn't see it. So let's go ahead and go through this real quick. Again, we're just trying to play internet potato. We're trying to figure out what went wrong. What did the relationship fall off the rails at? You know, Julio at one point had the reputation of an elite receiver who wasn't a diva. Didn't get nobody no problems. And he left here in such a sour taste in the fan base mouth. What happened? What went wrong? So we're trying to figure it out. My dog 3 Dirty in the middle. What's going on, 3? All right, so let's see what we'll say. I'm gonna try to go through the key points of this. I ain't gonna read it all for y'all. Just a second. I'm trying to find a good point to read here. Actually, let's go to this one right here instead. Let's share this too. Let's go to this instead. We're gonna read this one. All right, this says things between Jones and the Falcons have been deteriorating long before Monday's live interview on Undisputed. They're speaking of the Shannon Sharpe, the now famous Shannon Sharpe interview with Julio, and even long before trade talk started heated up this offseason. The issues between Jones and the Falcons go beyond his contract and the salary cap. So based on this one sentence, somebody is saying the issues between Jones and the Falcons go beyond his contract and the salary cap, according to multiple industry sources. They also say if the Falcons really wanted to keep Jones around, they could make it work, the source said. But things have been tenuous for some time. Now, does playing YouTube detective, when this statement says the Falcons could have made it work if they wanted to, does that corroborate what our entrepreneur said when they said Julio wanted to meet with blank? He asked for 2 meetings and he couldn't get his meeting until it was too late. So do y'all think that's a little corroboration? Maybe. Could be. So let's keep going. It says the relationship hasn't been the same since contentious contract negotiations in 2019, which resulted in a 3-year, $66 million extension just before the start of the season. Jones sat out of training camp in 2018 before the Falcons adjusted his contract and considered doing the same in 2019 before Blank assured him he'd get a new deal. One source said it was much more difficult to negotiate that deal than the one Jones signed in 2015. Negotiations work best, the source said, and they can be a win-win situation. Both sides believe they lost this one. So they're saying the Falcons, essentially what they're saying, the Falcons felt like they lost because they felt like they overpaid for Julio. They also, I'm sure, felt like they shouldn't be giving him a new contract with 3 years left on the current deal. And from Julio's side, they feel like he still was underpaid with a $66 million extension. Excuse me. And I think $64 million of it was fully guaranteed. It says Jones's public comments Monday have put the Falcons in a challenging situation, while new general manager Terry Fontenot and new head coach Arthur Smith were not part of the group that negotiated the contract. They are dealing with the fallout. Smith faced reporters Tuesday and made clear the Falcons would not react publicly. Let's see if we got any other. All right, so that's pretty much all the pertinent information that I think we'll get from that article. So, y'all, it seemed like it was a money issue. It seemed like it was a money issue. Chrissy Lewis says, I remember him not practicing. There was another article that I pulled up. Let's go. I'm going to share this tab too since you mentioned that, Chrissy. because Arthur dug a little deeper into this one. Let's read this one. Oh yeah, so let's read this one, because this one speak on practicing. Okay, and I'm trying not to bore y'all, so I'm just trying to read important information. That's why I'm pausing here. But here we go. It says, these words spoken by the fan within blank and intended to show support for his beloved players. They're talking about the Falcons for life thing that Blank used to say. Backfired on him with Julio Jones. Blank acknowledged for the first time the extent to which the relationship between the team and Jones had deteriorated, which initially was reported in April by The Athletic and then to a much greater degree in May, 2 weeks before the wide receiver was traded to Tennessee. Arthur Blank, who briefly spoke on Julio Jones' departure at the outset of training camp, went far deeper on the subject in an interview with The Athletic on Tuesday, saying that he was perplexed by why Jones felt disrespected by the organization, acknowledged that the player's relationship with some in the building, quotation marks. What does that mean? Let's read it again. Acknowledged that the player's relationship with some in the building had frayed, and that Jones's infrequent availability to practice had become a significant issue with the front office and the coaches. Now, I think again that kind of corroborates a little bit what the entrepreneur said about maybe Julio wanting to meet with Arthur Blank. And also that corroborates what Chrissy just said. They were starting to have a problem with Julio not wanting to practice. And it had become a significant issue with the front office and the coaches. So not only did the coaches start to have a problem with Julio not practicing, but the front office did as well. So that probably means Thomas Dimitroff had a problem with it. Probably means Rich McKay was starting to have a problem with it. And if Thomas has a problem, if Rich McKay has a problem, guess who that trickles up to? Arthur Blank. So Arthur Blank probably started to have some issues with it. And now, some of y'all ain't gonna like this. Some of y'all are not gonna like this. Some of y'all ain't gonna like what I'm about to say. I'm about to lose some of y'all. Some of y'all about to click off the video. But if Julio isn't practicing, everybody else out there practicing, if Taylor Gabriel is practicing, Muhammad Sanu is practicing, if Calvin really, even while betting on FanDuel, is practicing, shout out to Calvin. If he's not practicing, that's going to affect the chemistry between the quarterback and the wide receiver. So when we used to always wonder, like, man, why can't Matt hit Julio deep like he hit this person deep? You know, because it was really Julio's the only person where him and Matt just couldn't really get on the same page chemistry-wise. Maybe that got something to do with it. Maybe they weren't getting enough reps with each other. If one player is practicing and one player isn't, it could have something to do with it. I'm not trying to take it from Matt Ryan, but I'm just saying. That could have had something to do with it. Let me see what else in this interview. Anything else we need to read. It also says, specifically when asked about large contracts he was awarded to the Falcons players, Blank said, it's easy to look back with hindsight and say, should we have done that? Look back at the Julio situation in 2019. We, being Thomas, Coach Quinn, the player, and his agent, were all kind of at odds with each other. Now, you know what? I didn't realize it at this time because I didn't know all this dirt was going to get on the cover, but Arthur Blank banging a little bit in his interview, y'all. He banging in a polite billionaire type of way, but he doing a little banging now. Because now I kind of got a idea what's going on. Arthur Blank is disturbed. Arthur Blank usually don't call out names like this, but he says, looking back at the situation in 2019, we, being Thomas, Coach Quinn, the player, and his agent, were all kind of at odds with each other. So Julio and his team had a problem with Arthur Blank and his team. That's pretty much what Blank is saying. Yeah, we had some issues. We weren't talking to each other. They hung up on us a few times. We hung up in their face a few times. They told us, well, F it, trade him. We told them, well, F it, we'll trade him. But we got a contract done. We felt it was a very generous and made him the top paid wide receiver in NFL history with 64 of his 66 million guaranteed. But for whatever reason, he felt it wasn't sufficient respect. I don't know why he felt that way, but he did feel that way. So yeah, we are starting to uncover a little bit of the mud. We are starting to uncover a little bit. It was some issues going on there, you know. Julio went practicing. We were losing. If you still winning and you ain't practicing, you know, they kind of look by that. Oh, but we're still going out here and winning, bro. Yeah, okay, cool. You want to practice, cool. You know, go out here and tutor the young cats. But when you losing and you ain't practicing, people gonna start looking at you a certain kind of way. Then it was a money issue. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Julio and his team felt like the Falcons didn't pay him enough. But you know what? Hindsight is 2020. In hindsight being 2020, the Falcons were absolutely fucking correct. They did overpay him. After he signed the contract, he only had another one great year. And after that, he fell off injuries. Couldn't stay on the field. We gave him $64 million guaranteed to be on the bench. And then we later had to trade him. So the Falcons were absolutely right. Like, we are overpaying you, Julio. You got 3 years left on your deal. You're strong arming us for another contract. You're doing all this funny style shit in the media, on your Instagram, taking down all your Falcons pictures. You don't want to show up to photo shoots. You don't want to practice with your teammates. You're acting like a hoe. You acting like a hoe and you want some more money. Why you acting like a hoe? So yeah, the Falcons were ultimately right. When he got to Tennessee head coach was talking shit on him. Y'all remember? And what did Tennessee do? They released him. They said, fuck it. We'll take the dead cap hit. You ain't worth this contract, sir. Goodbye. He was released. So you know what, Arthur Blank? You, Thomas Dimitrov, Dan Quinn, y'all were right. Richmond K, y'all were right. He wasn't worth what he was asking. And I don't know, of course, I don't know Blank personally. You know, I don't know him personally. Never spoke to him directly a day in my life. But I got a good idea of how he moves with his players. You know, he fall for his players, like maybe they're a close friend or maybe a family member. And he probably felt, look, I'm close to Julio. I got a feeling I'm doing the wrong thing by paying him this money, because this was the Arthur Blank move, obviously. This obviously went over Thomas Dimitrov head. This obviously went over Rich McKay's head. This was a Arthur Blank call for the new contract. So obviously Blank had a lot of reservations. He probably looked at his age. Looked at how often he had to come out the games, how he went practicing, how he was starting to get banged up. I said, look, man, this guy probably not gonna last much longer. And he was right. Hindsight is 2020, but Arthur, you should have traded him before you gave him that new deal. That new deal effectively helped fuck up the salary cap, which effectively fucked up the team. Pardon my French here. But you were right, Arthur. He wasn't worth it anymore. He wasn't worth it. So, looks like the beef wasn't with Matt, it was with Blank and Julio. And it appears that's why Julio didn't show. Him and Arthur Blank still got some issues. Based on what the entrepreneur told me, if they try to put him in the ring of honor, he won't show. So when Julio officially do retire, if they don't make amends, and the Falcons don't announce he's going into the ring of honor, we know why. We know why. Then I read Julio and I saw that he was at the Alabama-Georgia game, you know. And he was even about to go talk to the Alabama team before the game. And he decided not to because he didn't want to step on the new head coach's toes. But Quintorius, you know, he obviously could find a way to make the Alabama-Georgia game. Can even find a way to, you know, to be on the verge of talking to the team, giving them some good words, some wisdom, some motivation prior to the game. But when it comes to Atlanta, he gives us his whole entire ass to kiss. And Julio, you and Blank got issues. That's you and Blank business. But big dog, if you ever hear this, you ever see this, or if your family members relay this back to you, bro, us fans in Atlanta, bro, we fuck with you hard at one point in time, dog. We fuck with you hard. We, as a fan base, our love and just, I don't really like using the word admiration when it comes to another grown man, especially a grown man that I'm older than. So I'm going to use the fan admiration that we have for you. We had you up there high in the Raptors, bro. We had you up there with Dion. We had you up there with Vic, Julio. Honestly, I'm going to be honest. You had more love than Matt Ryan did within the entire fan base, Julio. You had more love than Matt. Like I say, that there's a tier. You was up there in that Vic and that Dion tier. Or just people we fuck with hard, bro. We weren't going to let nobody play with you. You said something bad about Julio. We weren't going to let nobody play with you. We let people play with Matt Ryan. I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it a whole hundo. Nah, fuck that. I'm keeping it a whole stack. Nah, fuck that. I'm keeping it a whole million. We would let people play with Matt Ryan's name from time to time. Some of us would let people play with Matt Ryan's name all the time. But we did not let nobody play with you, Julio. We didn't let nobody play with you. That's how much love and respect and admiration this fan base have for you. So I get it. I get it. You and Blank have some issues, bro, but you pretty much said fuck the fans at this point too. You pretty much said fuck the fans too. So that's what I'm at with. So let's so with all that said, let me read to y'all what Julio family said to me. This is coming from, I couldn't verify a relationship, but this came from either his aunt or his sister. I definitely know that they are his family, but I couldn't verify whether it was his aunt or his sister. But she told me, she said, hey, don't speak on shit you don't know, Toddy Jones. You have no idea how he was treated. Unquote. I repeat, she told me, don't speak on shit you don't know, Toddy Jones. You have no idea how he was treated. I replied back, enlighten me then. At this point, I'm trying to figure out like what they did wrong. Because if the Falcons did some bullshit, hey, we got to call them out on it too. Even though that's our team, but if they did some bullshit, we got to call them out on it too. What they did wrong. So I asked her, I said, well, enlighten me then. She didn't say nothing. That's either sister or auntie. I hadn't had a chance to verify a relationship, but she is definitely family. After that, let me find this part. Who else came? Okay, so after that, Julio Jones's nephew came for me. So we're gonna read what his nephew said. This is a direct quote from Julio Jones's nephew. He tells me, Toddy, the way the Falcons played in my uncle's face, fuck them folks and fuck this post. I repeat, direct quote from Julio Jones' nephew. Toddy, the way the Falcons played in my uncle's face, fuck them folks and fuck this post. I replied, hey, explain then. Since you speaking up for him, what happened? Question mark. Again, y'all trying to figure this out. Like, do I need to come bang on the Falcons? You know? At this point, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be objective. If the Falcons did some bullshit, I'm gonna come bang on them. Still gonna love them. Yeah, I still got love for Julio. But if the Falcons done did some fuck shit, hey, I'm gonna bang on their ass. It don't matter. You know, it don't matter. He replied back. Now, this was his probably most interesting quote that he said to me. He said, y'all all saw what happened. Y'all just try to make people be loyal to some culture shit. Let me repeat that. I'm going to repeat this, and y'all tell me what he mean when he say this. Because he's speaking about something, obviously, that happened for the world and us, especially Falcons fans, to see. So I'm going to repeat his statement. Y'all please tell me what does he mean when he says it. He says, he's Toddy. Y'all all saw what happened. Y'all just try to make people be loyal to some culture shit. Now, I'm looking at the chat, y'all. What do you think he means when he says that? Like, he's saying like it was obvious what the Falcons did wrong, but y'all trying to be loyal to y'all team, and y'all are ignoring the fact what he did to my uncle. So what do y'all think he did? I asked him another question. I'm gonna read y'all his reply. But before we go there, what do y'all think he meant by that? Jay Black says Julio doesn't deserve any sympathy. He was being greedy, falling behind T.O. Keely in the building. What's going on, bro? Says not saying it's easy, but considering blank track record, blank intentions will likely be to mend the relationship. It's just whether Julio is receptive. I 3,000% agree with that. Especially now that Arthur's getting old. MVM 1978 says Julio had Tannehill, did nothing. Then had Brady, did nothing. And finally had Hurts, did nothing. Now guess what? He's doing nothing now. Banging on Julio. Millie Mill says, we know what happened now. Arthur Blank and them said we ain't paying that ML. He became a diva to get his point across and AB folded. You're right. You're absolutely right. But it wasn't what Julio asked for. That's what it was, Millie. Millie, that's what I put together. They gave us $66 million. I'm guessing. I don't know the numbers, but I'm guessing. But I agree 3,000% what you're saying, Millie Mills. I'm guessing Julio asked for $75 million for 3 years. He thought that was sufficient. You know, $25 million a year, and maybe they counter it with $60 million for 3 years. And Julio Jones and his agent told him, "Now F off, we ain't taking that. That's an insult." And probably they came in the middle somewhere around 66 million. You know, and obviously the Falcons still came away feeling like they getting fucked. Y'all pardon my English. And obviously Julio's side left the table feeling like they got F2, and they left their table, and they probably both sides was ice grilling each other, mean mugging each other. Like, man, you just got over on us. Nah, you just got over on us. So, Millie, I agree with you 100%, bro. Calvin Lyons and Tannehill wasn't still a ball. Banging on Tannehill. Lisa Shepard said, "I'm lost." Lisa, all that stuff you done read, I still don't know what's going on. Larry from the Dixon Way in the building. What's going on, Larry? Y'all make sure to check out my guy Larry here on YouTube at the Dixon Way for some of the best in-game commentary you're going to find on YouTube. Says, is his nephew implying there was a racial overtone to Julio getting paid or not? I don't know. To be honest, I didn't really gather that from what he said, but I don't know what he's saying. I really don't. I tried to press him on my next statement. I'm gonna read it in a moment. I tried to press him. Hey man, what you saying? Just say what you're saying, bro. Just say what you're saying. You speaking for him at this point. You know, we done went back and forth. You know, your aunt or your mom, and I say that respectfully, already done came at me. So hey man, say what y'all saying. So we know. So I don't know what it was. Jay Black says, it is obvious that when you put too much money in one or two players, you handicap your team from getting sufficient talent to play competitive. Very true. David says, what's up, David? That we're loyal to the organization instead of the players. Yeah. And that's kind of obvious. And that's kind of what I told him too. You're like, look, I'm speaking as a Falcons fan, you speaking as his nephew. We both gonna be biased to one side. But like, I'm trying to get from him, like, but tell me what the Falcons did wrong. You know, you say the Falcons were playing in Julio face. When he said that, two things came to my mind. I'm gonna be honest. Two things came to my mind. One thing was this all started right after Matt Ryan signed his deal, which I think was an average of about $30 million per year, which is absolutely peanuts now for NFL quarterbacks, but it was a big deal back then. Matt Ryan, I think his average, y'all correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think his deal was about $30 million per year. So did Julio think he should be somewhere around that $30 million per year mark? Since that's what Matt just got, and obviously Julio was a better wide receiver than Matt Ryan was a quarterback. So knowing that, did Julio and his agent feel like, hey man, we should get close to what Matt Ryan is getting? But as we all know, man, that ain't how the NFL pay structure is set up. Quarterback gonna get the biggest piece of the pie. We know that. We know that. Especially when you talk of franchise quarterbacks. We know that. Or when he said the Falcons were playing Julio face, did Julio feel some kind of way when we drafted Calvin Ridley? Did that set him off? You know? Did he feel like, well, shoot, like, bro, I'm the done daughter in the wide receiver room. How me here still in my prime years? Y'all finna go draft another wide receiver from my college. Does that got anything to do with it? I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. Kenner's man says he got top money when top money wasn't paid to wide receivers. That's true. Definitely true. Space goes from Allen says he didn't triple until every time they felt Matt should get more money, was the Falcons' best player for a decade, but pumped all the money into two. But Space goes, you know you're gonna pay the quarterback more money than anybody. You know that, bro. Man, you got cats like Daniel Jones getting $40 million now. You know the quarterback's gonna get all the cheese, all the cheddar. You know that, bro. You know that. But man, you are kind of thinking the same thing, though. You know, so I'm not saying that what you're saying don't make sense, because that's what I'm gonna be honest. That's what came on my mind too. Like, does he feel some kind of way about the kind of money that Matt Ryan making? Knowing that he's a better wide receiver than Matt Ryan is a better quarterback. Did he feel some way about that? Ghost Pepper says, made Jet the top paid wide receiver in the NFL. but he felt it wasn't sufficient respect. I understand Mr. Blank looks like a mob boss with them suits, but nobody put a pistol up to his head to sign it. He right. Absolutely right, bro. Hey, and honestly, Ghost Pebbles, you make a hell of a statement because really, Arthur Blank just should have dropped his, you know what, and said, "F it, man. Like we gonna trade you, bro. Where you want to go? You know, what? Give us three or four teams. Your 3 or 4 ideal teams. We're gonna make it happen, bro. But we're not gonna pay you again, and you got 3 years left on your deal. Now we understand if you only had 1 year left on your deal, and you coming to the table. Okay, we get it. But 3 years, bro, come on. You're right. You're absolutely right. Millie Mills says, Todd, who was the top paid wide receiver at the time? D-Hop, right? I'm not sure. I didn't pull it up, so I'm not sure. So I honestly cannot say. Rusty Moore, what's up, Rusty? Said, can't possibly be a contract issue. $76 million of his $77 million contract was guaranteed. Julio essentially had a fully guaranteed wide receiver contract when that wasn't even a common thing. Space goes, Real Atlanta says, who was the top paid quarterback? Matt was the top paid quarterback when he signed his last Falcons contract. He was the top paid quarterback at that point in time. Keelan says, we talked about this on Waffle House. We as a fan base were overly critical of Julio and let Matt skate. I can see how he felt unappreciated. He probably thought he could gain his respect and contract. I don't know if I can agree with that holistically, because I honestly think Matt Ryan caught way more criticism from the fan base than Julio did. There was a point in time where, man, like outside of just over aggressive Matt Ryan fans, nobody when, from my vantage point, nobody when giving Julio a lot of criticism from a fan perspective. Now Matt Ryan, shoot, he caught a bunch of shit. Calvin said, I really want to understand what the nephew's speaking on. That's what I was trying to press him. Let me go back to our final back and forth, and maybe this will shed some more light into it. So I respond back to him, speaking to Julio's nephew. I said, hey, man, break it down for me. I see this as a Falcons fan. You see this as Julio's nephew. We lost the Super Bowl. Matt got a new contract. Julio got a new contract. We then drafted Calvin Ridley. And soon afterwards, we saw Julio pop out of the Cowboys sweater. And then he did that interview with Shannon Sharp. Then the Falcons fired Thomas Dimitroff, and they fired Quinn around that time too. And Julio got traded. 1 year later, Ryan got traded. Like, fill me in. Where and how was he done wrong? And I say, when the Falcons fuck up, which is often, I'll say it. His final response to me, this is the final thing we said to each other. He says, Toddy, I really don't want to get into it because my uncle keep his mouth shut for a reason. Once he retires, he will probably tell it. That was it. So that's the last thing me and nephew said to each other. And I really want a nephew to speak because he was doing all speaking for him up until that point. So I'm like, hey man, don't stop now. Don't stop now. But I think we done kind of pieced it all together here. Playing YouTube detective, exactly what probably went down. Larry says Julio set the market 2 years in advance and is crying wolf on getting a new deal 2 years later because he is counting other wide receivers' pockets. When he set the market, stop it unless there's something else. Hey, I got to ring the bell. You're right. He reset the market twice. He did it I think he signed his deal in 2015. And then he came back, and Arthur, we hadn't even mentioned Arthur Blank came back and just gave him a $3 million bonus on some like, man, chill out, bro. Chill. You becoming a distraction to the team. Here go $3 million. We'll figure this out next year. So Blank give him the $3 million bonus and then tear up his contract and give him a brand new contract, which again resets the market. So you're absolutely right. And then again, like, hey, obviously I got a Falcons bias. But in hindsight, Arthur Blank was right. Like, bro, you're not worth that money right now. He obviously was right. Julio fell apart. And I say that respectfully. I say that as in a play of words, but he fell apart pretty much right after he signed the deal. He started getting injured. He couldn't stay on the field. He went from Atlanta to Tennessee to Tampa Bay to Philadelphia, and he was underwhelming at every stop in his career. He was underwhelming the final year in Atlanta. Didn't even break 800 yards receiving. I think he finished with 3 touchdowns. Missed like 7 or 8 games. He only played half of the season. Went to Tennessee. There was an issue with him and the coach at Tennessee. Head coach came out and said something about him after a game, after a penalty Julio got. You know, they were not satisfied with Julio at Tennessee. They cut him after he didn't give them really any kind of production. I think he finished with like 31 or 34 receptions. You know, then goes to Tampa Bay, plays with Tom Brady. Nothing there. Looked like a total shell of himself. Obviously had lost like 2 steps. Went from looking like the Jets to just like, okay, an old slow receiver. Signed with Philly late in the process. Got nothing at all done there. So in hindsight, Arthur Blank was absolutely correct. Overpaid for it. And what did that do to the Falcons? Fucked up our salary cap and fucked up our team for 2 to 3 years. Took us a long while to recover from that deal, from that dead money. So Blank was right in hindsight. Kevin Lyle says, I really want to know and understand what the nephew's speaking on. I mean, don't throw shit up there and not clear things out of the way. That's what I was like, bro. Like, that's what I'm like, bro. You speaking for him now? Don't stop. Like, what did we do wrong? You saying we playing in his face? Okay, what we did wrong? What we did wrong? Keeler said, I would not be surprised if Julio feels unappreciated. I bet a paycheck. I think you're right. I do think you are right that he does feel unappreciated in some fashion, form, or way. Where he feels more underappreciated at, based on what we've all gathered here, I'll say probably from the Falcons front office, including ownership. I'm gonna hope that Julio didn't feel underappreciated from this fan base, because I'm telling you, we gave that guy a whole lot of love as a fan base. A whole lot of love as a fan base. On the Mark in the middle. What's up, Mark? How you doing, bro? So Tyler, why you out here going to war with Julio? It's really his family, man. And it's all love to his family. Let me ring the bell for the family. It's all love with the family also. But I'm just trying to figure out, Mark, like, where did this go wrong at? Like, how did we do him wrong? Like, I don't get it. He was paid handsomely. Then they gave him that bonus money before they paid him the new deal. But yeah, his family members, they definitely came from him. You know. And y'all make sure to check out On the Mark also here on YouTube as well. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also puts out some great Falcons content. Millie Mill says, Larry, you right? Okay, you talking to Larry, my bad. My dog Tay in the middle. What's going on, Tay? The family members need to just stop beating around the bush and let it be known what it is, what it really is. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, we own it now, dog. We own it. We here. You know, you speaking, I'm speaking. You don't put it out. You came and brought it. So you might well say what it is, man. You know, don't clam up now. Say what the Falcons did wrong. And if there was really some like shady shit that went on that don't nobody know about but the insiders, you put it out there, hey man, we'll come on here and we'll put the Falcons on blast for it. You know, we still gonna love them, they're still our team, but hey, you know, Falcons make mistakes. It is what it is. But I'm like you, man, don't hey man, you don't put it out in the air. Come on, speak on it now at this point, man. Demetrius said, this is crazy. I'm lost for real. Antonio, what's up, bro? Since I just said that about Ridley and Julio. So you think there might have been a Calvin Ridley connection? Maybe he felt disrespected by us going to get Calvin. When was Calvin Ridley drafted? 2018, I think. 2018. So that means that Julio had a great year in 2017, right, y'all? What he had, Julio had about 1,600 yards in 2017, if memory serves me correctly. And I think he played like 15 games that season. I think he had 1,000. Excuse me. the one. No, that was 2018. I think 2017 he had about 1,444 yards, something like that. I don't know. I got to look at the stats. It was 2018. I think he had 1,600 or something yards. Because he had about 1,600. Calvin had about 800 plus and 10 touchdowns. Anyway, I'm not looking at the stats. I'm just confusing myself now. Russ is tight. I think I got it. Julio was a Raheem guy. Rod was on the wide receiver coach, and then the intern. Maybe Julio wanted Rod to get the job instead of the coach thing with FedEx. Arthur Smith got the job. Maybe so. That definitely could have been it. Maybe that was it. And it's funny that you mentioned that, Rusty, because one thing I do look at, if y'all remember when the Dan Quinn coach staff got fired. Well, let me say this. I don't know if y'all remember this, but I remember this. And this is piggybacking on what Rusty just said. But do y'all remember before Quinn got fired, when the rumors were he was about to get fired? Do y'all remember that Julio called a meeting with the players, and the reports were it was a real passionate meeting. Like Julio was passionately defending Dan Quinn in that meeting, saying that it's not Dan Quinn's fault, it's the players' fault. I don't know if y'all remember that, but I remember that. They said that was the first time in Julio's career that he had been so vocal with the team defending Dan Quinn and said it's not on Quinn, it's on those players. So I don't know, you might be right, Russell, but an alternative scenario was maybe he didn't like Quinn leaving, which also includes Raheem leaving. Maybe he was loyal to them. And if you also remember when Quinn got fired, of course he got hired by Dallas. And what is the jersey that Julio put on and got that picture taken in? Dallas Cowboy jersey. So maybe Julio was sending out subliminal signs of like, look, I ride with Coach Quinn. I don't know. I'm just thinking since you said that. Antonio says Julio was trying to fleece us before we had to pay Ridley. Space Ghost says he was the best player on the team. He knew his quarterback wasn't that good. Had y'all fooled him, but 20 touchdowns. Space Ghost, I told you, man. Like Julio was obviously a better wide receiver than Matt Ryan was a quarterback. I'm never gonna debate that with nobody. You know, to me, outside of the super Matt Ryan fans, nobody's gonna debate that with you, bro. Nobody. But at the same time, if Matt Ryan getting $30 million a year and Julio getting $22 million a year, that's damn good for Julio. The quarterback is only making $8 more million per year than you. And I know I'm saying only 8, but I'm saying that from in a fair perspective. That's good. You know, you are making kind of similar money to what your quarterback is making. You know the franchise quarterback gonna always make more than a franchise receiver. You know, 95, 97, 98% of the time. Nan Fong, what's going on? Says what? So what didn't he? Why didn't he go? Like, what do you mean when you say that? I don't understand your question. I apologize. Keeler says, what you just said is my speculation. He felt he was a better wide receiver than Matt was a quarterback, yet there was no haggle with Matt. That's my theory. Matt got love, Julio got criticism. That could be it too. That could be it too. But hold on, Keeler. Let me say this though. I do remember that last Matt Ryan contract was not just a snappy deal. If you remember, I even remember, and I'm sure y'all could probably Google this. It's probably still in Google somewhere. But Arthur Blank even came out and said something about, I don't want to say Blank said Matt should take a team-friendly deal, but he came out in the middle of those negotiations saying something about the team has to be considered in this new Matt Ryan contract. So, and I never seen Arthur Blank step to the plate and say something like that in the middle of a Matt Ryan negotiation outside of saying, oh, Matt Ryan's going to be a Falcon for life. So maybe even the Matt Ryan negotiation wasn't as smooth as it may have seemed to be on the surface. I'm going to try to Google and see if I can find that article. In fact, Keeler says, stop the madness title. Julio definitely got more criticism at home. Dude had the whole ordeal about not getting in the end zone and responding after the Washington game. I can't agree with you on that, bro. Not from the fans. Not from the fans. Now, maybe Atlanta radio is different. Maybe Atlanta newspaper is different. But from the fan base, no way in the world. I'm going to be real with you, Keelan. Since day one, I'm going to keep it a whole $1 billion with you. Since day one, and a lot of this had to do with how Michael Vick left here. But from day one, Matt Ryan had to fight to get a certain type of love and respect from this fan base. And I don't even think it was so much about Matt Ryan. It was just a lot of it was about how and why Michael Vick left here. You know, a significant amount of the fan base felt that the Vick era didn't end the way it should have properly left. So no matter who got drafted, it could have been Matt Ryan, it could have been Joe Flacco, it could have been Sam Donaldson, whoever. Some in this fan base were going to turn their nose up at him. From day one, it was all Matt Ryan always had to fight through brick walls to get some pieces of love from certain segments of this fan base. I'm just going to keep it a whole 1,000. Julio, he didn't have that same type of stuff and that same type of stigma that he had to deal with coming to this fan base. You know, because like I say, outside of just the illogical Matt Ryan fanboys, we all know that Julio was a way better wide receiver than Matt Ryan was a quarterback. That was obvious to anybody that could see football. So I got to disagree with you on that one. Space Ghost says he was the player. I think he said he's the best. He was the best player of the two. Matt Ryan won the MVP and come back in 2007 with a top 10 defense and threw 20 touchdowns. 20 name of the MVP to play 16 games the next year after the Super Bowl with 20 touchdowns. I'm not gonna argue with you about that. 2017 was definitely a down year for Matt Ryan. Like, you get no argument from me on that. Definitely a down year. 2018, much better year. But you're right, 2017 was a down year. Hey, no argument from me on that. And again, y'all, I'm not arguing that Matt was a better quarterback than Julio was a wide receiver. You're never gonna get that argument from me. You know, you're never gonna get that argument from me. In my opinion, Julio's a Hall of Fame player. In my opinion, Matt Ryan is a borderline Hall of Fame player. I repeat, in my opinion, Julio is definitely a Hall of Fame player. Whether he's first ballot, I don't know. I don't know about that part. But to me, he's definitely going to get in the Hall. Matt Ryan, I don't know. Borderline. I don't know. I would not bet no money that Matt Ryan's going to be in the Hall. I would put some money that Julio would eventually go in the Hall of Fame. Shout out John Harris with the outcast. Appreciate the super chat, my brother. Thank you very much for all the support, man. Appreciate that. And also make sure to check out the eye test here on YouTube as well. They will be on in about 50 hours. They come on every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Check them out if you don't already check them out. He says, ooh-wee, you know I got to dig deep into this. And there is too much unknown to draw a real conclusion at this point. I agree. And maybe like when Nephew said, maybe when Julio retire, maybe he'll sit down with somebody who the athletes sit down, who the football players sit down with. Shannon Sharp. And maybe he'll go on Club Shay Shay one day and have some what's that tequila called? Whatever tequila, Shea by Laportier. Maybe he'll have a couple glasses of Shea by Laportier. Tell us, hey, this is what happened. This is how it went bad in Atlanta. You know, we was hoping Nephew would tell us, but Nephew bowed out on us. But thanks again, John. I really appreciate it, bro. Jay Ross in the business is title puts on for the people. Thank you for the real news. Appreciate that, Jay Ross. Appreciate the kind words, my brother. When Storm from the artist also says Julio felt he was more valuable than Matt, and the Falcons not budging on it caused the rift. When that much work has been done, sometimes you have to put your pride to the side for the better of the whole. Let's ring the bell. I do agree, and you probably are right on what you just said, Winston. Um, and honestly, bro, that's kind of like it's kind of what like why I felt about it, man. Because I felt like Julio pride was getting in the way, man. Like, bro, like no matter how you feeling about Arthur Blank or Rich McKay or Arthur Blank's son, whoever it is, bro, like at the end of the day, this is the team that drafted you to the NFL. Now, did the Falcons give you the talent, the drive, the ambition, the desire to get this far in life and make it to the NFL? Hell no. If the Falcons didn't draft you, the very next team on the clock was going to draft you. But at the end of the day, this is the team that you came into the league with. This is the team 20 years from now that 99.7% of your highlights will be in a Falcons uniform, bro. This is your legacy. Everybody remembers you as an Atlanta Falcon. Don't nobody remember you. Tampa Bay don't even claim you. Philadelphia, they don't claim you. You know, you are a Falcon. That's what people gonna remember you by. And sometimes you just gotta put your pride to the side. If you don't want to go to the Benz, like man, just pop out for dude. Sit down at the Buckhead Theater, bro. Like sometimes it's about being selfless. And like you saying, Winston, I think Julio pride is still there, especially when you can pop out for the Alabama Georgia game, be willing to go talk to the players. It's like, come on, bro. It's like I say, for a good bit of us, it's bigger than your beef with Arthur Blank. It's like, dog, we spent 10 years, bro, championing you, bro. We spent a whole decade championing you. I mean, you realistically, man to man, you don't owe us anything. That's correct. But come on, dog. Come on, bro. Be bigger than that. Space Ghost says, y'all killing Julio last few years, but Matt loved the 51-52 turnovers and a 4-year losing streak with the Falcons, and people talking about bringing them back for what, a turnover. That's not it, bro. Like Space Ghost, you think I'm going to bat for Matt Ryan, but I'm really going to bat for my fan base and my franchise, bro. Let me say this, and maybe you can better understand where I'm coming from with this. If the shoe was on the other foot, right? Let's say Julio went into the Ring of Honor this past week. And let's say he had a ceremony a couple of days before. And let's say Matt Ryan was still out here trying to ring chase and he ain't on the team, but he's still a free agent. And let's say he don't show for Julio's ceremonies. Neither one of them. Bro, I'd have came on here and I'd have lit Matt Ryan ass up just like I'm lighting Julio ass up, bro. It's not about Matt Ryan. You know, Matt Ryan is just a part of the puzzle. And the reason Matt is such a big part of the puzzle, because it was Matt and Julio. Those two names, if you're a Falcons fan, Matt and Julio, those names ring off the top of your tongue subconsciously. Matt and Julio, Matt and Julio, Matt and Julio. You know, they just go together. Cereal and milk. Kobe and Shaq. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. You know, they were our version of those without the championships and the accolades. But they went together. So you can't say or you can't think about one without the other. So Matt is just a part of this puzzle, but it's not about Matt Ryan. I promise you, bro. It's not about Matt Ryan at all. Billy Mills says, so what's Julio Jones beef for them if it wasn't contract? I don't know. I'm hoping we find out soon. Because Julio should officially retire at the end of this year. I assume maybe a team will get an injured wide receiver and they give him a call. But I think for certain after this season he will officially announce his retirement. And hopefully at that point in time he'll sit down and give us his own personal insight. Dick Sway says, in my opinion, Julio is the second fan favorite in the organization outside of Michael Vick. I don't know, man. Falcons love some Deion Sanders, bro. I'll say I think we both can agree Julio was top 3 at one point. I think we can agree on that. I think all-time fan favorite is to me is Michael Vick. It's gonna take a hell of a person to come take Michael Vick crown. And second to me is Dion. And I think Dion. I think the flair and the style that Dion brought to Atlanta at the time it resonated, and it was a time in history too. Because you're talking about Dion coming here with late '80s, early '90s when Atlanta was starting to become Atlanta. It was starting to become Atlanta. And you could say Dion, put on for Atlanta, being an Atlanta Falcon, being an Atlanta Brave, just my opinion. But I think we both agree that he is definitely top 3. Millimeter, so what's graded B for Julio Jones? It wasn't. Well, so what's graded B for Julio Jones? It wasn't contract. Like, what do you mean when you say that, Miller? When you say graded B, graded Jared B, what do you mean? Now I do remember this. I don't know if y'all remember. I do remember this. Speaking of graded and Julio, I do remember this. When after Julio got traded, and maybe this is what Millie talking about, I don't know. But after Julio got traded, Grady put up an Instagram post. And to me, I think he was taking shots at Julio. I wish he still had. Y'all know how them celebrities and them athletes be. They wipe their Instagrams off. But he did put up a post. And to me, I think he was taking shots at Julio. I don't remember what it was, but it was kind of like, if you ain't with us, you would get. I forgot what it said, but it was something like, if you ain't with us, you're against us, or something like that. But it coincidentally went up after Julio got traded. Right after he got traded, that post from Grady Jarrett went up. And Julio does not follow Grady Jarrett on Twitter, by the way. By the way. Keelan says locally his two biggest criticisms were he couldn't stay on the field and he couldn't get in the end zone. 2017 and 2018, the no TD thing was a big ordeal. Even publicly addressed it after the Washington game in 2018. I think that's what they're saying. Is that the season that he finished with 3 touchdowns? No, I think that was 2008. Was that 18? No, 17 or 18 was the year. One of the years, he had 3 touchdowns. I think a lot of that really came from the fact that Julio was just so damn good, man. No, F that. Julio was so damn great in his prime. He was such a great wide receiver that people just really couldn't understand why the touchdown production was so low. I think that's where a lot of that criticism came from, and a lot of the questions came from. Because for the longest time, it was Antonio Brown, Julio Jones. Antonio Brown, Julio Jones. And Antonio Brown would put up seasons where he have, double-digit touchdowns, 8-9 touchdowns consistently. And then you have Julio, who getting all these yards, 1,400 yards, 1,500 yards, 1,800 yards. And for whatever reason, his touchdown production was always super low for a guy of his talent. And I think that just caused a lot of people to have questions and also criticism. And really, to me, that really was like the only major criticism that Julio had. People that started to question him getting injured, I think that was it was manufactured criticism, because prior to his last season in Atlanta, Julio missed no more than 2 games in one season. And that the 2 games that he missed were the Super Bowl season of 2016. If memory serves me correct, I think he missed like maybe the final 2 regular season games. And that was due to the fact that we were going to the playoffs regardless. And I think they were just resting him as a precaution. I felt like if we were in a true playoff hunt at that time, that they would have went ahead and played him still. Got my brother Black Cat Panther podcast in the middle. Got to look at the eyes. Yeah, man. Hey, man, we got some inside drama in the family, bro. Inside family drama. But make sure y'all follow my brothers Q and also Goat. on Black Cat Panther Podcast. We will be playing them this weekend. I already told my guys that we're coming to take their lunch money. I think they think they got a little slight chance that Andy Dalton gonna do it for them, but we coming up there to get the dub. What's going on though, bro? What's happening? Keela says Julio campaign for Quinn to keep his job. That's what I thought. I remembered that, bro. That's exactly what I thought, that he did campaign for him to keep his job. Space Ghost says Julio needed a quarterback who could get the ball in the end zone. We ain't have that. Fans was just satisfied with yards, part, and not the touchdown. Some fans, man, there were a lot of people that were critical of Matt Ryan, not being able to put a lot of touchdowns on the board, man. Everybody, man, everybody went like a super Matt Ryan fan or a proponent of Matt Ryan. I really wish they both could have did a better job at scoring. And I've always said this, that Matt wasn't great at putting points on the board. Julio wasn't great at putting points on the board. When you put them all together on the same team, that's the result we got. In between the 20s, hey, both of them was top tier. But when that field shrunk, when that field shrunk, they both had their struggles. Kevin Graves was saying it, says you can't feel unappreciated when you get paid to reset the market twice. That's wild work. I agree. I definitely agree. What text you talking about, Space Girl? Miller says, well, if Julio ends up in Washington, that will explain it all. Hey, you wild, man, but you do got a point. It may not be bad, man. They got James Daniels up there, so you never know. David Starr says Blank wanted Matt to take $27 million. Matt wanted $32 million. The talks got contentious. Yeah, that's what I was saying, man. I remembered Arthur Blank came out, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, man, that's odd. Like, Arthur Blank normally don't come out when it's time for Matt Ryan to get his money. He just give Matt Ryan his money and like, let's move on. But I do remember that Blank came out and he was like, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said he hopes and he expects Matt Ryan to consider the team on his next deal. And I just found that odd at that point in time. Miller Mills says facts tidy and Matt still doesn't have the love and respect he was fighting for after Vic. We just appreciate him for at least trying. Yeah. And that's one thing about Matt. 13 years in Atlanta, he only missed 3 games, and Matt Ryan had nowhere near the natural talent that Mike Vick had. Mike Vick throw the ball 70 yards without even trying. Matt Ryan would need to have a full off-season program with Navy SEALs and eat right to even get the ball 60 yards, put out his might in it. Vick could just flick the ball 70 yards without even trying. And we ain't got to talk about the athleticism. So when it just come to natural talent, Michael Vick was way superior in terms of just natural talent. So Matt Ryan could never ever compare to that. And the one thing about Matt, hey, I felt for the very most part, he left it all on the field. He just lacked a lot of natural talent that other quarterbacks had. He didn't have that Michael Vick arm, that Matthew Stafford arm. He didn't have an arm like that. At best, in his best days, he had an average arm when it comes to just arm power. At best, it was average. Space says now Matt was overhyped from the first pass. Michael Turner, who carried him his first half of the career until Julio showed up. Look how they shirt Turner out and Roddy White. Now, Roddy was doing wrong. And see, I'm glad you brought it up, Space Ghost. I'm glad you brought it up, bro. Because I'm going to say this. I don't think Turner was doing wrong. I think Turner's time was gone. Ben I do, bro. Turner was in them strip clubs, and he had got overweight. He had got slow. His time was up. But Roddy, I'm glad you brought Roddy up. Man, Roddy was like really doing wrong by the Falcons, and we really being honest. They trolled Roddy White. You remember that game? I forgot who we played. Shanahan came out there and he trolled Roddy because everybody was criticizing Shanahan for not involving Roddy in the offense. And Roddy spoke out against it. And then like the very next game, he came out and he ran 3 straight plays for Roddy, and they all went incomplete. So he was trolling Roddy, and they ultimately cut Roddy. Julio got traded, Roddy got cut. And with all that said, man, I'm sure Roddy White felt some kind of way about how he left Atlanta. But you know what? I think he understood that's the business. I think the professional in Roddy overtook his feelings and said, "Hey man, that's the business, man. Hey man, Mr. Blank still paid me more money than I could imagine that I'd ever get paid at 8 years old. I'm still able to take care of my family for generations to come. This is still the team that drafted me. This fan base still showed me nothing but love. And y'all remember the first few years of Roddy White's career, we was on his ass as fans. This motherfucker can't catch a cold. He can't catch a cold. We was on Roddy. Roddy didn't get that love until like the middle of his career. But with all that said, Roddy put all that behind him, man. He's an ambassador of the team, and Julio just never showed us the kind of love, dog. Julio ain't never showed the Falcons that kind of love. Even when things were going good, Julio ain't never repped the Falcons halfway like Roddy repped the Falcons. Julio was always had that standoffish personality. I said it on the Wapas. Julio always had that personality of, I'm Michael Jackson, y'all the rest of the Jackson 5. And Roddy was totally different. That's why Roddy get all the love he get now from us. Julio just seemed like he just never bought in, man. And the light seemed to shine a light brighter, his last 2 or 3 years and thereafter with the organization. I'm not gonna take that away from him. Definitely, without a doubt, one of the best Falcons players to ever play in Atlanta, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. In my opinion, he's the best Falcons that we've ever had to play for the franchise for an extended amount of time. I say extended amount of time because that eliminates Dion out of the equation. But for an extended amount of time, to me, Julio Jones is number one. So I ain't gonna never take away from him what he did on the field, but his actions on his way out the door, I could do without. Keely says he's loved beyond his actual accomplishments. No one outside of 285 even considers him Hall of Fame. I wouldn't agree with that. I've heard some voters say that he's probably going to be a Hall of Fame. I've heard some voters say that he's probably not going to be a Hall of Fame. So I couldn't agree that nobody outside of 285 considers him Hall of Fame just based on what I've seen and heard with my own eyes and ears. I really think the way the people in the Falcons, like some Falcons fans feel about him is like because he was here for so long, 13 years as a starting quarterback, for a lot of people, not our age group, but for the age group that came right under us, that's their nostalgia with the Atlanta Falcons. When they first started watching Falcons football, it was Matt Ryan. So that was their quarterback. They didn't grow up in all the bad times when we was rotating quarterbacks here and there, and we could never find a quarterback that could make it past 5 years. So I feel like that's where a lot of his admiration comes from his biggest fans. That's all they knew was Matt Ryan. And at the end of the day, he wasn't a bad quarterback. I ain't gonna play with Matt's accomplishments on the field, as long as I ain't gonna play with Julio's accomplishments on the field. Was Matt Ryan a elite quarterback? No. In my opinion, depending on the year he was having, Matt Ryan is normally gonna be a good to very good quarterback. Consistently was a top 10 quarterback for the most part of his prime years. And that's not necessarily easy to replicate. We saw after he left, it wasn't that easy to replace him also. He also says he was viewed as a savior because of Vic. The minute he threw the first TD, he was a hero. Yeah, it was a touchdown. It was a touchdown. So that changed a lot of people's mind. A lot of people still stuck on Vic. A lot of people was upset we didn't get Glenn Dorsey. But he threw the first pass, it was a touchdown. We put it all together. We went 11-6 that year. We went into the playoffs. So after that, a lot of people definitely got behind him. Keeler says the Atlanta Sports Radio did not criticize Matt like Julio, 680 The Fan, 92.9, etc. Matt Ryan did, I think, get favoritism from the radio stations. I do agree with you on that. They looked at him as pretty much the golden boy who they didn't really want to see a lot of bad things about. Also, a good bit to go beyond that, I think a good bit of the local Atlanta media as well. You know, that goes back to what we saw recently when he got traded. A publication that will remain nameless on this broadcast. When Ryan was traded, half their staff quit. Half the staff quit when Matt Ryan got traded. Like, bro, how y'all Falcons fans and y'all call yourself covering the Falcons, but you quit your job when Matt Ryan got traded? What y'all thought he was going to play here forever? So, that's a very valid point. I agree with you. A count. Okay, so you talking Keely. But yeah, y'all, I'm going to get ready to check out of here, man. We didn't get a chance to do the player grades. We just going to give everybody a damn A today. How about that? We give everybody a 10 today. We could get a whole defense a 10, even though they may not deserve it. We'll give the whole offense a 10. Shout out to Kirk Cousins for breaking Matt Ryan's franchise record also. In his fifth game as a Falcon, so that says a lot. Larry says that Julio ran bad routes, is why his TD rate was low. Roddy rate wasn't low because Roddy ran better routes than Julio. True money. Banging. Larry, you know my opinion. I always said that Julio had trouble getting open in short spaces. I've always been of the opinion that in short spaces, Julio had problems getting open. Space Ghost said he didn't miss many games. People misusing the injury prone. Go check Julio defensive highlight tape. Yeah, and I said that too. I said him missing a lot of games was misconstrued. He didn't miss a lot of games. Even when he was hurt, he would thug it out and still get on the field and play. Lisa says we're not losing a red rifle. We better not lose to the red rifle. We better not. Hey, y'all, but man, this was Jennifer, you're absolutely correct. I'm not gonna lie. They can watch this. They can feel some kind of way. Y'all know me. I don't give a damn. But I lost a lot of respect for the journalistic integrity of that publication when that happened. It's like, bro, what y'all thought this dude was gonna play forever, bro? I mean, y'all watch the same guy I had been watching the last 2 years. He was declining. His arm was gone. He never had a lot of athleticism. That was gone. He couldn't move. What y'all think? We just gonna keep him here forever? And I thought, and I blame Arthur Blank a little bit for that, because as he sees now, that Falcon for Life stuff, that was never a good idea, Arthur. Never. And some people believe that. I used to argue with them people all the time, like, man, Matt Ryan gonna be here as long as he wanna be here. I'm like, who told you that? Well, Arthur Blank said Falcon for Life. Like, bro. So I used to tell people all the time, man, soon as he declined, he gone. This is the NFL, bro. As soon as they had a chance, they started looking elsewhere. But y'all, man, it's been real, man. It's been like almost 2 hours, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it out. Everybody who came for the player grades, my apology, man. We just started talking about this Julio situation, and I'm done with it. We got to get back to this not the off season. We got to get back to business. We got the Carolina Panthers coming up, so I plan on doing the Waffle House on Friday. So we'll come back. We'll get back to regular business. My final thoughts on this. I'm a little pissed at. I shouldn't say a little pissed. I'm pissed at Julio right now for how he handled this situation, but as a diehard Falcons fan, man, I can't take nothing away from what that dude did on the field. I've said this before, and I'm saying it publicly when I'm pissed at it. In my opinion, this is Tyler's opinion, the most impactful Falcon in history on the field. On the field. Vic got off the field. On the field, I feel like Julio is the most impactful Falcon in Falcons history on the field for the things he did. Went to two NFC championship games during his tenure. We won one of them. Went to a Super Bowl. which we should have won. And also in Atlanta, Julio and the Falcons, during his team, we didn't have a losing record in the playoffs, which is a big accomplishment for this franchise. So I can't take none away from what he did on the field, but I need him to get over this shit without the blame. And man, think about all these fans in Atlanta that rode with you, championed you for 10 years, man. You know what I'm saying? Got in all these battles online about you, you know. Think about the fans a little bit too. You don't owe us nothing, but be selfless at the same time. Peace out.